Bienvenidos a Pixca. Mi nombre es José Alcaraz. Welcome to Pixca. My name is José Alcaraz. We are a worker-owned farm. It consists of 4 people and a lot of community involvement. Christina, Leonard, Eric, and myself are the worker owners currently. We organically came together and are now the core team of Pixca. And here it is. Welcome. Pásenle a nuestro paraíso. So this is where we start our seedlings. We are pushing nursery plants and herbs, vegetables, everything we can do to provide for the community, whether it's the vegetable itself or the plant. We want to try and have both, give people options, and these 2 tables are going to be our station for those kinds of things. Over here we also do full trays. We get those requests sometimes. We mix and match different vegetables, and people take them home. The rest of these plants are mostly what goes in the ground. We try and separate them just to reduce confusion and just looks a little bit more organized. And so we put the stuff that needs to go in the ground ASAP, like closer to the edge, and as we move back, the plants get a little bit younger. And we're trying to fill up as much space as we can, just because we're in such a small amount of land that we got to maximize every little piece of space that we have. So let's go in the greenhouse. Aquí merito empezamos todas las bebés. This is where we start all the baby plants from seed. As you can see, we used all the space already. We try to maximize time and space. We have different plants, starting with these snapdragons, flowers. This is another flower that I forget the name of. We have some cherry tomatoes, lettuce. We started peppers early in a heat mat, and now they're doing really good right here in our greenhouse. Still need a few more weeks to go. We have some summer squash that's gonna be for sale, not for planting. More cherry tomatoes, some kale, lettuce, more flour, peppers, calendula, cherry tomatoes, lechuga, summer savory. This summer savory is similar to oregano. I feel like so close to oregano, but it's just a different variety. And here we have different varieties of peppers. Some of these didn't do so well. It depends on the variety and then the climate. We did push them a little bit early to try and get them as fast as we can in the ground. Pero pues sí, es parte de la agricultura, de tratar de empezar las temporadas más temprano o terminarlas más tarde. Para poder ofrecer, ¿no?, diferentes verduras más pronto y maximizar ese tiempo que tenemos para crecer, por ejemplo, chiles, tomates en el verano y cositas así. Anyways, let's walk into the field. This is what we have right now. We split this field into 4 quadrants, all irrigated on a timer and by drip tape. We also do some no-till beds, and we do till. We started tilling because it's much faster and reduces the labor. It does have the disadvantages of burning more fuel and but also has some advantages of starting the bed sooner and getting those plants in the ground. No-till, you do save some labor, and you are definitely more conscious of the environment and the soil by doing no-till. This is a bed. This yarrow bed is an example of no-till. We did till it initially, but it's gonna be no-till after this. It's gonna be a perennial bed. We're gonna keep our yarrow nice and healthy, and hopefully that soil structure gets really very healthy and prolific and gives us more, which I think it's been happening. We have a few beds over here of Caspia, and they've shown a lot of difference, I think, in my opinion. I want to say it's the soil health, the soil structure that hasn't been tilled, and the plants benefit from having a steadier soil structure. And there's many bacteria in there that live symbiotically to the roots, and that no-till lets you do that with the plants. All right, so Caspia is it has been these are the 3 beds that have been no-till for the longest time. And I did notice they come out a little bit more full, more vibrant, more rich, I think. A lot greener too. And I think that can also, or that's probably the result of like not messing with the soil structure and letting the soil develop diversity of nutrients and bacteria and all that good stuff that happens underneath. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the benefits of no-till, and you can kind of see it too. We haven't experimented with longer term no-till. I have read up on the disadvantages, and some of them are that it spreads diseases or it contains them, as it's not tilled and the produce is not reincorporated into the soil, which helps prevent diseases. But I mean, so far, I think it's been a full year now. Both these as well, Caspia over here and this Billy Balls. They look to be doing very well, and it's only been 1 year of no-till. You can obviously see the benefits. I mean, compared to last year, these weren't doing so well, and now it's like so much of it. And I mean, I want to say it's because of no-till. Also, I think, yeah, we want to try and incorporate a full bed of no-till, kind of just to compare what's being tilled and what's not, and really look at the benefits and show others as well, not just for our own benefit. Yeah, the other thing about growing flowers and food simultaneously is that, you know, like for example, sunflowers, they help regenerate nutrients into the soil. So kind of moving them around to different beds is kind of what we're trying to do in order to enrich all the beds naturally. Yeah, regenerate, enrich with nutrients, and yeah, just regenerate those nutrients naturally without having to use fertilizer or so much of it. Yeah, those little things that just help you reduce, they add up and make a greater significance as a whole. But that could be one of the reasons why some of these strategies get passed up, because it's not significant results immediately, but those little results just come together at the end and add up, which that's the true benefit at the end of doing little changes. Anyways, let's talk about the compost that we use. This planting, we ordered 2 different kinds. one that comes from Escondido, from the mountain meadow mushrooms. They only use their soil once and then just dump it out and give it out for free. So anyone who wants to grow, they absolutely have access to great compost. I think that's probably one of the best ones that we've used out here. And it's free. We only pay for transportation. It is kind of far, or actually it's very far, 40 or to almost an hour away. But I mean, you can see the compost is like rich of nutrients, mycelium especially. There's different kinds of fungi in here that that help the plants. Once we use them, once we put it in the bed, we drop a bunch of compost in the bed, and then even mushrooms come up when it's very wet and moist and not so hot out here. And you can see the obvious benefits of using the mushroom compost. This is from Otay Mesa. It's a lot closer. It's like 15 minutes away. They do charge by the yard. It's incorporated in the ground now, only in a few beds, just so we could see the results. Just from looking at it, I can see this is a little bit more consistent as I dig into it. The mushroom meadow has a lot of organic material, which is not necessarily bad. It just hasn't been decomposed. But I mean, it's free. You can't beat that price. And then, I mean, this probably is so consistent because they sell it to you. They gotta make sure most of it is broken down. But I have high hopes for this. It looks good. We haven't had a full season with this, or a full bed and a full cycle of like the veggies, planting, harvesting, and redoing the bed, turning. But I think it's gonna do great. It's just, for sure, mountain meadow mushroom compost is something you cannot go wrong with. I recommend it to everyone that asks me about it, just because the results are so obvious in our field. The Otay one, that was just an effort of us trying to shop local and just closer. But I'm not sure if that's gonna keep on happening. See. So now let's walk to the second plot. The second plot, we got a little bit short after we outgrew this first one. And I mean, by outgrowing, I mean demand is higher than supply. Not necessarily that we reached the ceiling on this. We could definitely improve a lot more on this quarter acre. It was just demand was starting to increase a lot higher, and now we are at that same point again, where we need to look for more land to kind of meet demand. Our community has been growing, our supporters and following has been growing, and we want to try and make high quality food and flowers accessible for our followers and community and ourselves, of course. Anyways, this is a second plot. Welcome to the second plot. This is mostly all in production, or más bien todo aquí es para producción. We don't have the wash station or the greenhouse out here taking up space. So there's more beds out here, and that also means more work. Pero aquí es donde hay la mayor parte de nuestras verduras. Most of our veggies are planted here. We have some flowers out here. Just because something comes out, it's ready to go, it's harvested, we just plant whatever's next on the greenhouse table. So our flowers, we try to stake them early. We've learned last year, because of the rain and the flood, that it's better to keep them straight up. This is a good example of staking early. They are all nice, and actually we need another string on these, but they're all nice and straight up, easy to harvest. You come in, they grow better, more vibrant, I think. This is the example of kind of coming in a little bit late and staking the flowers. They're doing okay. They don't look as full as the beds over here, but they should be fine. There's no perfect way of farming. Definitely all trial and error. But yeah, it's the flowers just make this place more of a paradise than what it already is. And I mean, the veggies are magical too, but the flowers they just kind of close that loop of magic. Anyways, this wheel's also split into 4 quadrants. This is the timer we use. Nothing fancy, but we should consider getting something fancier. We started a little section for native plants out here, or herbs, a mix, and it's going there. We have some rosemary at the beginning, some sage, dragon fruit. I think this is stevia, and this one is valeriana. Hierbabuena, más orégano. Sí, orégano. I think this is thyme. Yeah, this is thyme, English thyme. And then some lavender here at the end that's not doing so great, but we'll hold on to it. So yeah, this is Pixca in its full, 2 plots, a 1/4 acre each. So we grow in half an acre. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's definitely a lot of work. But through the efforts of the community and ourselves, we're quickly outgrowing this space. And I couldn't thank the community more, honestly, because we need that support. People purchasing our produce and products, flowers, mixed bouquets, our seedlings, our herbs. That all helps us keep going. We are a for-profit LLC. We want to make a sustainable business without having to rely on grants or other assistance. We want to be as independent as we can and as conscious as we can to our surroundings, which includes our community, the environment, and our fellow farmers. We started aggregating with them, buying produce from them, and redistributing it through our clientele or our community of supporters. And we want to continue doing that moving forward as we grow the community of farmers and grow the community that we serve. So that's a little bit of Pixca. This is our tour. It's a little bit quick. It's just half an acre. Everything's planted, I mean, except for a few beds. But that's the whole point too. We try and keep everything planted, keep going. Try to have food all year round. And that can mean no rest, but it's also very beneficial in, I want to say, in the sense of like providing food for the whole community, for the entire community, the entire year. So it has its advantages and disadvantages. So maybe we should talk a little bit about how we function and how we're trying to organize ourselves. ¿Tú empiezas?
Ok. Hola. Hola, bienvenidos. Otra vez. My name is Cristina Juárez Garcia, and I am also part of Pixca. I was doing the recording while we were doing the tour. We are, as Jose was saying, we are a workers' cooperative here in Kumi Island, what is also known as South Bay San Diego. So we are right at the border of Tijuana. On this side, actually, as you could see, like on the video, on the south, you can see the border from here where we are sitting. We can see Tijuana on the other side. So we are in a very magical place, as Jose was saying. It's kind of like a hidden gem in between of all the development that has been happening in San Diego because of the real estate value of the land, because globalization with NAFTA like happening in Tijuana too. So because it is so close to the border, and because this is also, we are in the Tijuana River Valley, so we are basically on the bed of what used to be the river, the Tijuana River. And the river used to run right here where we are, and now it's been redirected, and it's been also drought. This is a flood. ¿Cómo se dice? Como flood. Yeah, it's a floodplain, so it can flood anytime. So that's why this hasn't been really developed, and it has been preserved. We are also right next to the Tijuana estuary, which houses, and like this is part of the Tijuana estuary. Like it's not just over there is the Tijuana estuary, but this is also a bird sanctuary for migratory birds and other species that migrate. And we're really happy to be here. We're really grateful to be part of this space and part of this land, and be able to build this relationship as a collective, and for me personally too, as an individual.
Yeah, I touched a little bit on how we want to structure ourselves democratically and just have different principles of what a typical business is used to, and like a horizontal structure where everyone has a say and everyone's opinion is valuable. So what I was gonna say about that is probably the hardest part of this project, but it's also like what personally keeps me going, like that difference, it brings so much meaning to my life, and I think it could bring a lot of meaning for a lot of different people as well. And that's like my main motivation, like to keep this project going, like to try and spread this and grow so others can like also experience this democratic structure, because we grow up, or they push us they push these terms, democratic or Republican, and it's actually not what it really is, and we're trying to like really be democratic and show that it's what it really is and how it should function, and not the way you see it at the media or how they portray it, or that we grow up thinking, But that's for us probably the biggest struggle, just kind of bringing all those similar mindsets together and trying to make it into one mission, and have everyone kind of strive for that. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there with the same mindset. Is just kind of finding them, and I mean, life happens too. Sometimes you just can't, or you're so used to one way, it's hard to work with others that are trying to like push these boundaries and break from the norm, no? And I feel like that's kind of what Pixca is as well. Although we are in an environment where we are limited to how much we can do or how much we can express our beliefs, but Pixca as a workers' co-op kind of represents that, and we want to push that as we keep growing.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention too, like for me, like a workers' co-op. Um, it's a horizontal structure because workers, like cooperatives, can also be very vertical and hierarchical. And what we are trying to build is something horizontal that is also dignified, and it's also rebellious in its own way. And by being rebellious, it doesn't mean that it's unorganized and that it's unstructured. Like, I think on the contrary, it takes even more work, as Jose was saying, to do this kind of work. Sometimes I think that because we want to break away from what we are used to, like in the regular, like 9 to 5, or in regular organizations, institutions, basically all the working class in where we are in this capitalistic society. I have worked in nonprofits. We have all worked in the system, and I think when I found myself like wanting to do something else, because that wasn't, not only that it wasn't fulfilling, it was hurting me emotionally, physically, spiritually, like in so many levels, that trying to break away from that system, I actually found myself like wanting to build something and having an intention to build something different, following different teachers with life examples, some things that can actually happen, but also coming here, trying to build something in Pixca and being untrustful of what we could build together. I think at the beginning, I was scared of like exploiting ourselves and of creating like that same system like upon us. So it's taken me some time to really trust what we are building, and even like value my own work and value my own ideals and wanting to invest everything that I am here and in other places, because everything that I invest in other places, I feel like it's like a circle, that it also like comes back, and like we are all like part of one system. Like there is no such a thing as being an individual or being just like your actions are just gonna affect yourself, like we are all connected, and just as we are connected to the land and all the plants are connected to the land, we're also connected to the plants and like all the animals too, and in this case all the fungi that it's holding everything together actually. So I think this coming here and finding myself now supported by this land and supported by my friends and supported by other co-workers and by the community has been a very healing process, and also a very strengthening of spirit and mind and soul. And it's not, I don't want to romanticize it either because it is a lot of work, but it is, and it can happen, and it takes sacrifice, and it takes organizing, and we are by no means there yet, I think, but we realize that we are doing the work, and we are putting in the work every day to get there. And however much we get to do in this lifespan, I think it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, I want to add to that a little bit how also there is almost no other project similar to us, like BIPOC run and own, but there is conscious projects out there. It's just I feel we are a little bit even more out there, more radical, I guess would be the word. But here in San Diego for sure, yeah. Right here, this specific area is like we're so close to the border, and then as soon as you're in this area, like you don't even see any POC out here. And but I mean, yeah, in terms of projects and like farm work, I think we stand out because of that, and I mean, I feel like it should be more normal, right? There should be more farms out here ran by their workers, even regardless of race. But I mean, that's just not a common issue. And being supported, this project being supported, like, it represents so many things, like keeping this going, hopefully normalizing this too, and just spreading that awareness that, like, even POC can be owners and manage and do accounting and do the sales, the marketing, and the work. And I mean, that can also shy some people away from, like, trying to do something horizontally like we're trying to do, because it also means more work. There is no days off in this. Even when you're at home, like, I'm just thinking about this project. Like, how can we improve? Like, how can we make this better between us? Or we're to the limit. Let's look for land. But then that's like another struggle that we have been facing since we started looking for more land. You can think there is access, but once you try accessing that land, like, you find so many roadblocks. It's ridiculous. And I just wanted to add that to this. You have something more to say, Cris?
I think I'm good. I think we're gonna leave it at that, but we're gonna be having a Q&A, a live Q&A. So we wanted to record this beforehand. Before we wanted to do it live, because I think, like, it would have been, like, really nice to have, like, an interaction with all of you in a live setting. But also because we're so close to the border, the mobile signal, it's really bad. So we wanted to make sure that we also were able to deliver the tour and the conversation. So that's why we're doing the Q&A live after this. So feel free to ask us any questions. We're really open, and one hopefully can answer your questions, so you all can start your own projects in your localities. I think this is something that it's been very beautiful, that we're not trying to replicate anything. We're just inspired by so many different people and projects, but adjusting it to where you are, it's the most important thing, that you're not going out of your way to try to replicate something in an area that doesn't really work, but get to know your community, get to know what is around you, get to know the land, get to know the fauna, the flora, the fungi around you, and hopefully we can start to remember those relationships that maybe have skipped a generation or two, but are still embedded in us. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in a bit.